Mad at me today. Don't care. That man don't respect you and he never will. I don't know who this is for, but I definitely know it's for somebody. That man does not respect you and he never will respect you. And I know that sounds like a grim message because it's like, well, D, you know, we can all change. You had to change. Yes, I have had to change. I got some more changing to do. You probably have had to change. I mean, there's no reason why you should be moving and operating the same way you were 15, 20 years ago. We've all had to change, right? But here's the thing. One, look how much time that took for us to really change. Two, you had to really want to change. Three, as far as you're concerned, when you're in a relationship with somebody who's disrespecting you and they've established a pattern of disrespecting you, that means there's something in the relationship, there's something in the mix that's rewarding this behavior. There's something that's enabling them. So as far as you're concerned, you need to come to grips with the fact that, okay, they've been disrespecting me over and over and over again. That's not going to stop because you keep giving them more of you, more of your time, more of your energy to continue disrespecting. Could they change? Absolutely. Hopefully they do. But if you continue to, if you continue to reward this bad behavior, it's going to come at such a price where at the end of them changing, you ain't even going to be able to enjoy this person. You're not even going to be able to experience this person. Put I down in the chat if you ever dealt with a guy that he did you so bad by the time he actually got himself together and started acting right, you ain't even want him no more. Put I down in the chat if you can relate. If you've ever been with a guy who did you so bad, disrespected you so egregiously, so many times, over so many months or years, that by the time he finally got his act together, started doing the right thing, started delivering on all these promises he had previously broke, you didn't even want him no more. You couldn't even be open to him. And you maybe even struggled to be open to anybody else afterwards. That's what happens when you allow somebody to get comfortable disrespecting you. One way that you get comfortable allowing somebody to disrespect you is by over-explaining. Anytime you get to telling your dude like, oh, this the 5th time, this the 10th time, I done told you, I'm gonna put y'all onto something. That's an indictment on you. That means you're doing something wrong. That means you're over-explaining, and the more you over-explain, the more you devalue your word, the more you devalue your time, your energy that you invest into explaining. And the reason why a lot of women over-explain, well, one of the reasons, should I say. One, of course, attachment. But two, y'all fall for it that we don't have common sense. We have common sense. Men have common sense. I know, no, they don't. Yes, we do. We just also have a thing called selective ignorance. Meaning we play dumb when it benefits us. Think about it like this. In a lot of situations where a guy's acting like he doesn't have common sense and you got to put together this whole dissertation, this 4-page letter, this PowerPoint presentation, you got to put together this booklet for him to know why what he did wasn't cool. But if the shoes were reversed, if the tables were turned and you did that to him, he wouldn't be dumb at all. He might sound like me a little bit. He might start breaking down the principles. You know, you don't do this. It makes you look like this. It makes me look like this. You just don't do for. He'll be able to break it all down to you. Meaning, when it's beneficial to him, he's ignorant. So you get to over-explaining something. Okay, 1 or 2 times you talk to this man, you guide him, you do your job to communicate. Absolutely. I'm not absolving you of your responsibility to articulate to that man what it is that you need, what it is that respect means to you in any given situation. No, he can't read your mind, right? Cool. That 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time, y'all ever got in a situation where you had a conversation with somebody, you broke it down, they play stupid. But then after the emotional dust settles, you start thinking about like, hold on, this feels very familiar. Like I've been here before. I've talked to them this time, that, and you can now think of like 8 different times you've already had this conversation. Selective ignorance. Because what happens in a manipulative man's mind is, hold on, wait, if I can convince her that I didn't know, or I didn't understand, or this circumstance was a little bit different, then she'll start explaining to me, and then I can play like, now I get it, and now I can restore hope in her that, you know what, if she just allows me one more chance to get it, I'll be all right. But really what I'm about to do is give it a little time and do the exact same thing again. If I even give it a little bit of time, maybe I'm just gonna hide a little bit better. Over-explaining will enable a man's disrespect of you. Another reason why a man will get comfortable disrespecting you, another reason why he'll never respect you if he's already established a pattern of not respecting you, is because he knows he can buy, he can sex, or he can threaten to leave his way out of any situation. Anything that he does wrong, he already know, oh, this is my get out of jail free card. I'm good. Her love language is gifts. Just get her something. Flowers, diamonds, pay off something, make it public so that, she gets pressure from her friends or something like that in order, to keep me and think I'm a good man. Or sex, because a lot of y'all are walking around sexually frustrated. Let's keep it all the way real. So the moment you get all of that dopamine and all the cortisol, not the cortisol, but all of the, whatever the other chemicals are that cause bonding, y'all know what I'm talking about. Long as you get that going, you know what? Whoosh, I'm good. You know what? It wasn't even no big deal. A lot of relationships today are sustaining strictly off of that anyway. Or he can threaten to leave his way out of a situation. And then you'll start saying, you know what? Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I don't want to start over. If he knows he can do that, he don't have to respect you. You don't even respect you. You don't even respect your own boundaries. You don't even respect the rules that you put in place. You don't even respect the needs that you communicated to him. So if he's already established a pattern of not respecting you, that's the guarantee it's going to continue. That's the guarantee is not going to stop. He already has in mind, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. I don't have to face no real consequences. That's a situation where a man is basically, he's using your love language against you. Love languages are beautiful, but when a man starts speaking your love language as a way to manipulate you, you have to silence him, even though it's your love language. And that's hard to do. To silence somebody who's speaking your love language is hard. But when somebody's speaking your love language in order to manipulate you, it ain't love no more. It's just hate. It just feels good in the instant, and then it damages you on the back end. Another reason why that man would never respect you is because even when you do get the courage to actually leave, you're the first one to work things out. You're the first one to want to patch things up. This is the problem with those of y'all who are so competent when it comes to interpersonal relationships. If you consume a lot of content like mine, or you read a lot of books, or you grew up in a home where there was a lot of great conflict resolution, what happens is the moment things start threatening what you truly want in a relationship, you can come up with so many things to repair. You can come up with so many things to make it right. But what you can also do is absolve that person of their responsibility to, one, not continuously make it wrong for the wrong reasons or for the same reason over and over again, and two, to do their part. So whenever you leave and you got all of these different tools and equipment and things you've heard from me or such and such over there, or you read over there, your pastor told you, and you leave, you get to sit with all of these reparative practices and exercises that person really don't deserve. But the thing about our hearts is when it's hurting, when it's yearning for somebody, it don't really qualify what that person is or whether or not they deserve us. It just says this is what you want. So you got to be very careful about that. But if you leave or he leaves and then you're the one to text or you're the one to call to make things right again, all you're doing is teaching him is, well, you'll stand your ground a little bit. You got a little strength for your boundaries, but he can just enjoy his vacation because eventually you're coming back around. And then you end up becoming the woman. I say, never become this woman. I always warn y'all against this woman. And some of y'all maybe already know what I'm about to say. You become the woman that ain't going nowhere. Nah, she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. Because what do we know about that woman? How does she get treated? What standard does a man meet for the woman that he knows ain't going nowhere? What effort does he put forth? Bare minimum to none. And you have full control over that. I'm all about us as men taking accountability. None of us are perfect. I definitely ain't. Ain't nobody been sinless since Jesus. But we can all be accountable. And that includes you. Because one thing you have full control over is whether or not you're going to be the woman that a man can look at and say, oh man, she ain't going nowhere. Another reason why that man does not respect you and likely almost definitely never will, is because now you're socially dependent on him because you cut everybody else off for him. This don't apply to some of y'all listening, but this apply to somebody. You got so wrapped up in that man and that relationship, you began to worship it, idolize it. Maybe even it was filling a void. So on a survival level, you allowed that to become your survival mechanism. Very dangerous ground. That's why you don't date while you're broken. But let me continue on. When you do that and the man who's manipulative, who doesn't have your best interest at heart, realizes that, he'll get so drunken with the power that comes from that emotional authority, he'll make you get rid of every threat to it. Anybody around you who has your best interest at heart, he'll make you get rid of them. He'll plant little seeds of doubt in that relationship over here. He'll kind of stoke a little resentment towards this other person, this best friend of yours, this long-term friend of yours, this mentor of yours, your mama, your daddy, whoever. And not in the sense of, hey, let's create some healthy boundaries so, we can make our decisions in-house and everybody else can, we good. But in the sense where, like, you don't need to be close to them. You don't need to trust them. That's isolation. Yes, it is narcissistic for those who are saying that right now. That's isolation, though. And then at that point, there's really no external accountability, because when you're dealing with somebody who has a healthy social circle, there's accountability for how a man treats you. He knows he can't play with you, because the moment that you go and talk to such and such, and they know what the best version of you is like, and that, hold on, since this man came in, you've been crying, you've been stressed, you're losing weight, you're not your normal self, you talking negative, you over here questioning me about stuff I've never given you a reason to question. Hold on, wait. There's that external accountability. But a manipulator wants is for there to be no accountability, whether from you or the people around you. And so if you ever isolate yourself, understand, that man he's never going to respect you. But don't think, oh, that's more the reason to stay with him. Absolutely not. You just got to start from ground zero. Get rid of him. Be okay being alone for a while. Rebuild the trust of those that you isolated yourself from. If they really ever loved you and you actually took that action, more than likely, they'll reconsider. Especially if you haven't done this over and over again. But that's another conversation we'll have another time. One more reason why that man will never respect you, and I need y'all to hear me clearly on this, it's because he's simply disrespectful. It ain't got nothing to do with you. We always talk about how, a man can only do what you let him do. No. A man can only continue to do what you allow him to do. Yes, that's very true. But there are some men who it don't matter what you do. It don't matter. It doesn't matter that you don't over-explain yourself. It doesn't matter that you don't let him speak your love language in a manipulative sense. It doesn't matter that you didn't isolate yourself. It doesn't matter how you carry yourself, what you bring to the table, how you can contribute to his life. It doesn't matter that you treat him like a king that he's not. It doesn't matter. He's disrespectful. He came out the womb disrespectful. He came out of his mama's house disrespectful, whatever. The cave that he crawled from up under, he came out disrespectful. And he didn't reveal that until you got attached to him. So it took you a little while of allowing him to disrespect you, because now you're giving him grace, you're giving him chances. As a human being, sometimes you need the same thing. But he's still disrespectful, and it's not because you're doing anything in particular, except staying too long and refusing to accept him for who he is. But he's disrespectful. I'm all about everybody taking accountability. There are some things that you're doing wrong, yes, but there ain't nothing you can cause in terms of a person's character. If he's disrespecting you on a regular basis, there may be nothing whatsoever that you can do differently, except that he's not going to change because you're continuing to give yourself to him to disrespect. All you got to do is change what you're allowing in now. And maybe he's not disrespectful to nobody else. Don't matter. Is he disrespectful to you? Answer that question honestly, on a regular basis, on a blatant basis. It ain't genuinely, we're getting to know each other. He talks like this, but this is the very first time I've ever expressed. No. And if he's perpetually disrespectful, at that point, you're allowing him and you're becoming complicit in it. You're corroborating with him. You're disrespecting yourself by allowing him to have access to you. Not only are you disrespecting yourself, you're also keeping yourself away from the man that adores you, that cherishes you, that does respect you. You ain't got to ask him. You ain't got to explain. You ain't got to teach, because he had already evolved himself beyond that point where he was even fooling himself into thinking he could disrespect a woman and get the best out of her. That's only going to be for an evolved man. Only an evolved man can have that kind of mindset. And so many of y'all settle for these guys who are low tier when it comes to their character because You have low tier faith that evolved men even exist. These men are out here and they're looking for a quality woman who has done the work on themselves. But they only can find her if she knows how to position herself to be found. That's where a lot of y'all miss. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to talk to. You don't know what qualities to look for. And I already did a full hour-long masterclass, removing all confusion when it comes to that. If you want access to that masterclass so you can know how to recognize, how to attract evolved men into your life, click the link that you see pinned right here. That link right there in the comments, click that link, get access to the masterclass now. Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You. If the positioning part is where you feel like you go wrong. Now, if you feel like, oh, I'm just not good enough or whatever, that's a whole different story. Sometimes, hey, look, you just ain't ready to bring to the table what it is you want in return. But if you're the type of woman where you put the work in on yourself, you know you can bring your best self to any man and make his life great and bless him and all that kind of stuff. But you need that back from him. You're tired of doing that to men who don't deserve it, who can't reciprocate it. Then an evolved man is who you're best fit for. Again, that is at the link in the comments right there. And it's also in the caption, the description when you back out. But back to what I was saying. When it comes to a man's respect level for you, first and foremost, it's really going to come down to his character. I've seen men deal with women who had zero respect for themselves, zero regard for anybody else, and they still didn't disrespect her because that wasn't in their character. But the thing I want to emphasize is, if there's already been an established pattern of disrespect, you need to now come to accept that it's going to continue. As far as you're concerned. And even if it does not continue, you should not be paying the price of the wait for him to change his behavior. Let somebody else get that risk that maybe he's changed for good. You go and you make an educated, calculated decision to be with somebody who presents themselves as actually being equally yoked with you in terms of their character. That's what you deserve. You deserve a love that's safe. You deserve a love that gives you confidence, not paranoia, not test the limits of your forgiveness and your resilience and how much you can take a punch. At some point, you got to get tired of taking them punches, man. Let somebody protect you for once. But those are just my thoughts. If you are in the market for an evolved man, click the link that you see pinned right here down in the comments and share this. If you got something valuable from this, it blessed you. Bless somebody else by sharing this on your timeline right now for somebody else. And again, Secrets to Making Evolved Men Crave You Masterclass is pinned right here in the comments. Also in the caption whenever you back out. I'll let y'all later. Y'all be good. Peace.